Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. I'm Vashi V, and joining me today is,
Right. Welcome to episode 48, the penultimate episode of Zenkaiger.
and not an episode I was expecting.
Uh, so, we open up showing Zox and Stacy's fight against Barashitara some more. Barashitara winning the fight and shit talking.
Like you do.
Mocking Zox for you knew what was waiting for you if you came here. You could have just lived your life jumping from world to world, stealing treasures. Bazox has an inspirational speech about how not all treasure is the kind you steal. Some are waiting to be found, some are always with you, but what you want
I,
to protect, all of it is treasure.
I like how it was similar to Marvelous's speech. Um, it wasn't like close to word, but like the sentiment was still there about Marvelous giving up the treasure.
Right. Like, and as captain, Zox is going to protect his treasure. Ugh. Uh, there's also the Stacy portion where Parashita talks him of like, yeah, you're not the first to try and rebel against me, and you were the most interesting for a while, but I've grown tired of this. You didn't even have the guts to take me on alone.
Like one thing I've noticed, and this is a Sentai trope that slightly does irritate me. Bad guys, and it's not so much a Sentai trope; it's just a trope in general with pretty much any form of media, where the bad guys are kicking ass and just decide to stop the, you know, shit talk, which invariably does nothing but rouse the heroes.
Although this does confirm that, like, yeah, no, Barshitar did have other kids, and
Yeah,
he killed all the ones that did what Stacy is doing.
and more specifically, more kids with Stacy's mother.
Wait, I thought it was just
Because I could have swore he said that you're not the first one to come uh because of your mother.
because of their mother.
Oh, I read it wrong then. Never mind.
Uh, yeah, no. He's had all the, like, 800 wives. He's had kids with a lot of them, and a lot of those kids are pissed at him for the same reasons Stacy are. You banged her and then left, essentially.
Like it is a very good motivator, apparently.
uh, and well,
And like I give Stacy credit for that not being the reason he's doing
right.
this.
It's like, you know what? I hate you, but this isn't about revenge anymore. This is about protecting the place I found for myself. He's found a true home, and he's not going to let Barshitar destroy it.
So hey, how many death flags did they raise for Stacy?
Um,
Between the last two episodes, they raised almost every death flag they could. I'm so glad they didn't follow through
yeah, I'm sure it's fine. uh,
with it. Yeah, they hit almost every single one of them.
uh, but yeah, this is the culmination of Stacy's character arc. Like, he's no longer rebelling against Barshitar for revenge. No, it's to protect something. Like, and he's never gonna let Barashitara take anything away from him again.
It was a great conclusion The only thing I'm disappointed with, and this is having looked, what little bit they've shown in the preview, we're just not going to get that full roll call, are we?
No. Uh, Zox and Stacy are teaming up. Not just fighting together, but fighting in sync. I love Zox's comment, like, looks like you're good at more than just tennis.
That was a nice callback to that episode. The first time Stacy helped him.
With Flint and the brothers cheering them on, it comes down to a battle of breast cannon.
Birth would be proud.
I do like that, like, the others, like, charge in to, like, support them from behind, like, hold them up and make sure.
Your standard, yeah.
Like, even if it's just helping them stand their ground, like, literally, like, not fall over.
And am I the only one who thought it was funny with how they framed it? With it just looked like Flint just went pink with their brothers. They just smashed their faces against them.
And with that final attack, Barkshitar is finally defeated.
So much. Well, that killed that rumor. Which, to be fair, I'm fairly certain that the entire rumor about Barkshitar being in Dawn Brothers was solely from the scans about Momo being in this one.
Probably, yeah. You gotta take those rumors with a grain of salt.
Oh, yeah. And, like, the more I see of the rumors of it, like, the ones that have been canned, because due to things that have happened in this series alone, I'm okay with it.
And now that the fight is over, the brothers ask, Flint, where did you disappear to? I don't know, I just suddenly woke up in this strange place. And then Stacy chimes in like, there's a chance God's behind that.
Phrase that'll confuse anybody. And continues to.
But, we'll continue that story thread later. Back to the Zenkaigers, who once again return to Bakuwa's chamber. This time they're ready for when he tries to flip the disc.
Jump!
Then he just starts spinning it. Sejan's like, wait, use the Shinkenger gear. They spin the disc on their swords. That's what I thought he was getting at.
Right.
But no, they just use their basically magic to make Sechan big enough to, like, heavy way down.
And then also fight Gage.
Yeah, air fight with Gage. So which one's the real Gage?
That's the confusing part with this.
Because
everything we've had that's led up to this, Bakawa seems to think the other version of Gege is normal.
That's the Gege that has been with him the entire time. But is that the real Gege? The one that I said was basically autopilot. Is that one supposed to be the intended one? Is that what Gege was?
So.
And, like, this god ended up possessing him?
Like, it would make sense, and it would also explain, like, his Bakuwa's infatuation with Gege. Because let's face it, the current one comes off very cold and uncaring, whereas, God Gege was,
right,
all happy and soothing. And
at one point, Bakuwa comments like, Gege, you haven't been as active as normal, and Gege is just like, I haven't? Basically, it is that, like, you're not doing the things that Bakuwa enjoys about you. Realizing what's going on, Gege goes back to possess his body, and explains to Zenkaigers like, oh, Bakuwa's weak point is on his back. Gege, Why this betrayal all of a sudden? Zenkaigers are more interesting than you. And in a fit of rage, Bakuas smacks him against a wall and destroys him. And then cries about it.
Yeah.
Oh no, my precious Quiche is gone.
Imagine just sitting there going, "You did that."
Yeah. What's worth noting though is that a piece of Geach he absorbs into his body. Was that the final piece?
Apparently.
As Bakuas explains, as he obtains his true form, their body is comprised of like pieces of all the previous leaders. So I'm wondering if Geach was created from a piece of their body.
It would make sense.
The wall crumbles down and reforms into tiny.
Teeny Bakuas.
That's just his core, though. The shattered pieces come back together to give him his true height.
I will admit, as soon as this happened, this entire joke, as much as I hate the fact that it did this, all it did was remind me of Zyuohger.
This is like a better version of Zyuohger.
Yeah.
So,
mainly because his entire character isn't just I am ashamed of my true form.
It's no, I absorbed all the remaining worlds inside of me.
You can kiss my ass. I'm gonna fuck shit up.
Check this out. Rocky Mountain World just drops a fucking boulder on them.
You know my favorite joke in all of this?
Go.
When they end up outside in the standard cliffside quarry.
Rocky Mountain World.
Rocky Mountain. It's just a fucking. It's the
like,
same fucking
it's
cliff.
the same cliff. All. But it sets the stage for the final battle. And Bakuas reveals his true power. Bokenger World. Magi Ranger World. Gal Ranger World. Jew Ranger World. Go Ranger World. The worlds of the past Sentai.
I liked seeing the Jew Ranger gun. Or Jew Ranger gun. Yep. That was nice. And the family kick. It took me a second to realize exactly what it was, and it took until they were punching Kaito.
Right, yeah.
Or to register, oh no, yeah.
So at first I was like, Ranger Ball, wait, that's supposed to be played with multiple people. You're alone. And then it's like, oh.
Oh.
You poured in the power of Kaito's family to mock him.
Breaking everybody's gears in the process.
No matter. Even without their gears, they're still the Zenkaigers. They still have a job to do to fight him.
So we get what would be considered our final roll call. Under normal circumstances.
This could still be the final roll call.
It could be.
Although we could also just get a normal one tomorrow, next week.
Right.
Fucking.
We're not that late. But no, it's like the fact that we've had this roll call before in this show. Not complete, but we've had this roll call before.
Right.
It was also nice to see them. Actually, I'll wait for that in a second.
Right.
Enough. Having the actual Zenkaiger roll call be out of suit in my head is weird, but it's not.
I do like the speech leading up to it about how, like, even Kaito says, like, I'm sure we're not the first in the world to be in this situation. All the past Sentai have had to deal with trash like you. they've all experienced this, and we're going to live up to that. We're not going to fail. They didn't fail, and we're not going to either. Transition into the suitless roll call, which made the most sense.
It did, but at the same time, it seemed weird.
This is
Mainly
the,
because there are 4 characters that are still technically in suit.
but it's a different suit, and this is the
Right.
one I was expecting. Really, it would have been even weirder if they did helmetless.
Right. That would have been very weird. I would have been down for it, just for the weirdness of it.
The 5 of us are Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. And then Bakuas begins making his villain speech of like, yeah, there's nothing you can do to stop me without your powers.
Villains red flag.
I love that they start to charge to him, like, just out of suit. And then when they see the sparks flying, like, they just all come to a skating hall and Vroom just falls over.
At least they got one good gag in before it ended.
The Sentai World Gears reject Bakuas and leave his body, giving their blessing to the Zenkaigers and restoring their gears, better than before.
And by better, they're now Avatar gears.
Yeah, they're now the gears for the next series. Their suits here are still the same, but like those are just going to be for the next show.
Like in my head, this would be like Ghost Ager losing their powers, getting their powers back, and it's just the Ranger keys.
Well, you see, according to
To
Saban...
Well, to be fair, also in one of the movies that happened. Also, fuck what Saban did. It's not often I'll bash Saban, but that's one of them I'll bash.
It wasn't entirely their fault. Like, Nickelodeon is also partially to blame with their whole, like, 20 episodes a year, not a cent more.
Yeah, that kind of fucked everything up. Well, it was that and them just deciding we're just going to do the next season, but use it an entirely different show to do it. Like, that was a bad decision.
They were rushed because they wanted to get the 20th anniversary in, and they wanted to use the anniversary stock footage, including all of the non-anniversary stock footage, like these
all the stuff that made no sense to anybody in the U.S.
Here's a bunch of new powers never before seen. Like, yeah, okay.
Drago has left a comment.
Okay.
I will wait until the end of the episode for it.
Okay.
Because it exactly encapsulates for next week's episode.
So this might be one of my favorite ways that the heroes have finally defeated the villain. Kaido uses power up 4 to charge at Bakuas from the front, and then Jiren just walks up behind him with a gun.
Oh yeah, by the way.
Oh, hey, I heard that your weak point is on your back.
Fucking sat there and fucking basically mugged his ass.
So they've got like the lineup for the cannon, with Kaido drilling him from the front, like just flanking him, just straight up.
Like this was fantastic.
Taking every advantage that they can.
I also like the fact that just to back up a second, the fact that when they did transform again, they went back to the first time all 5 of them transformed. The spin move, the spin moves.
Boom boom, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang.
Like that was a nice touch that they brought that back.
Yeah, I miss that.
Like that's one thing this show really hasn't had is like a standard transformation. Like most of it was either mid fighting or just like cut down to the basic spin the gear gun.
With the final blow, Bakuas is defeated, and all of the world gears that were in him were destroyed. All of the worlds liberated. The rocky mountain world setting that they were in fades away, and they find themselves back in Kikaitopia. They did it. They won. And then they just start celebrating.
Wouldn't you?
It was one of my favorite parts about Kira Major when they win and they just start celebrating. They like grab Red and just start like yeah.
I'm pretty sure this comment was back on the Arsaban thing that Drago said. New powers exist. Comic book division of Power Rangers. It's free real estate. That would work if my comment wasn't about them using like Genji Man and shit in Super Mega Force.
Just I don't know, just make a comic about Power Rangers Blitz.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard to do, and also that's a terrible goddamn name.
I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of the 80s ones that they called it that.
Oh, God. The sad thing is it would make sense to call Gal Ranger that since they had a fucking football. As dumb as that is.
Just make a Go Ranger comic and make Zordon the Red.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Because then it would also tie it into the new movie, to the stupid reboot movie, too.
With everything that's happened, though, some things are still not quite adding up and are a little bit suspicious. Zox wants to go and talk to Kaido about it. When suddenly he changes his mind and says, hey, you know what? Why don't we go check out Kikaitopia instead? There's something there I want to look at. And he takes his pirate crew and takes off. With Stacy standing there wondering, was that really Zox?
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, at Colorful, Kaido's parents have returned. Isao found his wife on Sushi World.
I hate the fact that you were right. Literally at the finale.
Not where I thought she'd be, but, you know, that's what I said would happen. While the Kikanoids are celebrating with the civilians like Tasan about their victory, they notice... Wait, where did Kaido go? Kaito activates the Parallel World Gate, bringing him and Sechan back to Earth. Along with... what was it called?
I forget what the fuck that thing was called.
It was the device that Toji Tendo was using to capture the worlds in the first place. That broke at the start of the series.
Officially. There are now quotation marks around that officially.
I mean, maybe it did legitimately break. And that's what Gij has been doing this whole time. He's been repairing it.
It's either that or Gij is the one who broke it. Once they were going after this particular world.
That would be an amount of forethought that would be absurd.
It would only count, it would only make sense if this particular world is the one that he is from. And he recognized it when they went to invade it. Or when they went to capture it.
Maybe.
Still a lot of forethought, and we still have an episode to find out if that was true or not.
Regardless, With the Tujiro system activated, the worlds are once again recaptured, setting the stage for the finale. One last fight.
Kaito versus Kaito.
Yeah, that's the part that confuses me. Now,
I,
go on. You speak first.
here's the issue I have with this is like because we have the Don Brothers spoiler from the premiere that Kaito's in it, but it's not Kaito.
Which this would
As we
explain
know,
that.
this would explain that, but also we may not
So,
because that literally the one in the Don Brothers could literally just be from that world.
you ready for bullshit theory time?
I mean, it's the end of a series. Let's go for it.
So, you mentioned Gi. What if Gi is from Earth? What if he's from this world? So follow with me on this.
Okay.
Uh, Kaido's parents developed the gear system, and Ijirude stole their technology.
Yes.
And they were working on the Zenkaiger system to protect Earth in case they ever needed their own Sentai team. And they developed Sechan, the mechanical talking bird that helps Kaito out. Did they build Geech?
It would make sense.
Now,
because here's my thought: either they built it, or EJ Rude and them built basically Stacy's version of Geek.
regardless of where Geech actually came from, that's not the important part. The important part, and this is where the bullshit comes in, the autopilot. That's the real Geech. This theory assumes that that's the real Geech, and that the mind-jumping god is the imposter, is something else. What
Which
if...
I fully support that theory so far.
Now, the original plans for Zenkaiser, the Hakaiser suit.
Yes.
What if that was designed as an AI? Because, as we've seen with how the gears work, like they were specifically designed, they appear to have been designed with mechs in mind, with like mechanical life force to be using them. So what if it was designed as an AI, and Geech was that AI that they designed?
I will back up your earlier statement. Complete bullshit theory.
Yes. This is crazy out of nowhere, and
But there is an ounce of logic to it.
But that leads into my point about why are there two Kaitos? Because that's what Geech wants. He wants to take Kaito's place and be like the true son or some stupid shit like that.
I mean, I could accept that. That or all of this got all weird and wonky. If my memory serves me correct, and I don't know if you'll remember or not, when Stacy was first trying to access Isao and them,
Mm-hmm.
when they were just a hologram things,
Yes.
one of them woke up. I'm pretty sure that was the dad. That's about the time Geech started acting weird.
Was it?
Yes.
Because that was when Sechan received the blueprints for, I think, Zenkaiju gear.
I think so. I think that was around that time.
That's what happened. But, maybe something else also happened.
I realize we're not probably going to get a true proper answer to this.
I realize that we're gonna get a true proper end to this, and it's not gonna be anything close to the shit we're spouting.
Right. Um, but yeah, since we're on the topic, Drago's initial comment, it's like we're watching Agito again. Can't wait for Zenkaiger versus God,
Uh, just Rider kick God in the face.
which I mean, if he uses his mech finisher, he will. I love that his mech finisher is just a fucking rider kick. Um, I don't know, like the next episode, like because we get through the previews that all the all of the Zenkaigers end up back together. Well, how may you ask? This episode set the precedence for it, with all of the Sentai gears basically breaking out of Bakulas. The power of Sentai trumps the World Gear system. I'm sure there's going to be some bullshit involved in it, but they set the precedent for it happening.
Right.
Instead of it just being pure bullshit. Um, but no, I was not expecting Bakulas's end to this episode.
Uh, at a certain point, I started to realize, like, oh, this is where it's gonna happen.
Oh, I realized it like once they got to the battlefield, and they're sitting there
It's like,
doing
wait,
their
this is the final battle. Like, this is the
once they started.
stage.
Yeah, once they hit the we're gonna run our mouth unsuited. I'm like, oh yeah, he's dead this episode. Holy
This
shit.
is, for me, it was like when they hit Rocky Mountain World. Like, oh, this is the arena. This is the arena.
But like, I still expected them to do the whole standard get your ass kicked. It being drawn out until like the first 10 minutes of next week. Which, to be fair, that happens. It's been happening fairly often.
Yeah, it's pretty normal.
Um, I'm going to answer this question because I already know the answer on your hand.
What's the question?
Drago said, speaking of rider kicks, have you guys been liking Revice and the new Saber V cinema? He hasn't seen them.
I haven't seen either of those things. However, I do like Live Devil.
And yeah, you need to get into Revice. Because yeah, shit's hitting the fan.
Right now, me and my roommate are watching O, so maybe I'll watch Revice after that.
Speaking on the Saber V cinemas, I haven't watched those yet because I'm still angry at Saber. It'll probably be a minute before I actually sit down and watch those. I've watched the first episode of the Revice mystery thing, which was interesting because Teryu's in it, and Genta from Drive.
I was trying to remember which one was Genta.
The one who can't say Roy Mute. Revice itself has been pretty fucking great compared to all of this rider versus rider shit we've been getting. Despite the fact that we have had a little bit of rider versus rider, it's very, very much just a circumstantial thing. Because right now Demons is in the hand of the bad guy. But again, it was circumstantial how it happened, and I guarantee you it's not going to last.
So far it's been closer to like Blade in terms of like, yes, sometimes the riders punch each other, but mostly it's about the monster.
Yeah. Because literally it's like their current evil rider literally has a monster form. It's like him getting a hold of the belt was literally just a small power up for an extended period, for however long. biggest issue I think you would have with Revice is the fact that there's shit that they will drop and information they will drop on us that will have you going, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck are they doing? And it'll take you 20 episodes to get an answer. Because everything goes back to business as usual.
Oh yeah, that show is halfway through about now, isn't
Yeah.
it? Oof.
Yeah. And they dropped more shit on us now because now there's even bigger what the fucks. Um, but it's been pretty solid. I think this is the closest we're gonna get to a Rider versus Monster series that's as good as Ryu. And I know that's saying a lot for you.
It is sounding like I should actually watch this show. Like I'll actually like it.
You want to know one of the biggest reasons you'll like it, aside from the Rider versus Monster thing?
What's up?
There's actual downtime.
Oh.
Like literally, there's an episode they're supposed to go do something, but they stop and give somebody curry instead.
So, rewatching Dino Nose made me realize another aspect of Rider that I like that I miss in modern Rider, which is the Riders are supposed to be helping people.
That's another thing that happens in this goddamn show.
Good.
Like, literally, like one of the villains literally gets pissed off at Icky because he's a fucking busybody who it comes across as he's the bad kind who just thinks, no, what you're doing is wrong because I say it's wrong. Like, he's not accepting of like circumstances pushing people to make bad decisions and do bad things. It's just you're doing bad things. You know you're doing bad things. You need to stop. And while he's not wrong, I can see people getting pissed off at that. But yeah, like a lot of what he does is people come into his thing and go, I have a problem. Aren't you that writer guy who works for Phoenix? Come help me. Like the last two episodes, they're literally playing protection to a comedy duo.
That's the kind of stuff that I miss.
Like, and it's done in the same way where Deno is of them trying to figure things out. Like they most of the episodes are two parts. Is like the first is them trying to figure out who's behind it, and they do it in a way like, or like I said, this episode they pose as a comedy duo to infiltrate a thing because comedy duos are being attacked, and they specifically are being asked to protect this particular one and figure out which one of the other groups are the bad guys. It's fantastic. And then they throw a wrench in it. But yeah, you would fucking love Revice. This has been the so far 20 episodes in, it's the most solid series that we've had in Modern Rider. And that's including 01. To start with.
I really liked a lot of aspects of 01, but like it was just a Rider versus Rider show.
Right. Like this, it's gotten to the point where like monsters are being reused, but it's more the show's more about the people behind the summonings of these monsters. And it's also not just the bad guys going monster. It's people deciding to unleash these monsters. So it's like it adds a very unique take, and it is damn good so far. Like I said, we're about 22, 23 episodes into it. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. Yeah, we're about 24, 25 episodes into it. So we're about halfway.
All right.
And apparently I need to watch the Saber V cinemas and finish the Revice Mysteries because apparently Kaito's in it. Or Kaido. I know Brave and Durian are in it.
I can't watch the
Bravo.
V cinemas because I haven't even finished Saber.
You're not missing much.
I think I left off after Blades got his ice upgrade.
Yeah, you've got a ways to go. Everybody's a good guy now, except for evil sushi master, uh, the guy who played Genta and Shinkenger, and the last of the whatchamacallits,
Yeah, the
Morio or
whatevers.
whatever the fuck they are. Yeah, and he's just a douche noodle. And I think the biggest thing for you would be the very end of the show when they pull everything together. It just took way too long to happen. Because there is a great moment with Ren and Disaster.
Yeah, you're telling me that like that actually goes somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, it actually does, and it was fucking great. It's just it was way too
It
late of a
took
thing to happen.
way too long to happen. They started it too soon, and then they just occasionally reminded you that nothing was happening.
Right. Um, Drago also says you don't really need to finish Saber to watch the Visa. For what that's
All right.
man, next week is the last episode of this.
Yeah,
Mitch.
and it's my last episode of the podcast.
I know I gotta figure something out. Which I will, one way or the other.
So,
Until next week.
thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you one more time.